All right.
Cool, dude. Sounds great. By the way, we just hit 200K months, so I'm psyched.
Shit.
Yeah.
Congrats, man. Congrats.
Thank you,
Um, and like through what? Like paid ads, outbound? What's the
bro. We're
breakdown
not
like?
we're not running ads.
Dude, are you sure?
Yeah,
How's everything going with the those two outbound reps?
dude. It's good, and the main thing is like I can coach him and help him out, and that's great, and we're doing good. But PJ, have you talked to him recently?
Maybe 2 weeks back?
Okay, dude. PJ is like unbelievable, bro. He's like taking so much initiative. I'll go over it on our interview, but like bro is like coaching Chris now, and he's making end of day reports, and just like at every turn that he can go above and beyond, he is. So I'm just like, dude, this is the best $4 an hour employee I've ever had.
That is awesome. And like how many outbound reps do you have at the moment?
Just two, just PJ and Chris.
And both of them are contributing to the 200K per month, I wish.
Mhm. Yeah,
Wow. Okay. Yeah, we can dive a little bit into that. I think we can get started.
cool. You want to
Okay.
intro us in, and then let's freaking do it.
All right, guys. So right here we have with us the man, the myth, the legend, Hunter Saroy. Basically, we are going to run through the masterclass. So in this masterclass, we will talk about how Hunter grew his agency from 0 to 1 million in 1 year with just outbound prospecting alone. All right. So Hunter, how's it going?
Dude, it's going well. Obviously, perfect outbound is a huge piece of doing well, but I mean, I'll get in and intro myself a little bit. So yeah, my name is Hunter Saroy. I started an agency back in 2019. We scaled to a seven-figure run rate, so 333 months, without ever running paid ads. And at this point, we're at 200K months. And we're not running any ads, so
Yeah.
we're about to turn on the ads. But yeah, it's been pretty insane.
Yeah. So I know the last time when you came on board, you were doing about 100K per month, right? And when we just connected a few days ago, you told me you reached 200K per month,
Mhm.
right? Can you tell me like, have you added other, channels, or are you still doing outbound prospecting only?
It is really all outbound, and there's no paid ads running right now. We're getting our campaigns set, but like our profit margins are so good. So like, why turn them on if we don't have to? And we're still steadily growing, and we're hitting all of the projections and like goals that we have. So now we're getting to a point where with churn, it's a little bit difficult. So we're trying to increase how many people we just pull on a month, how many new clients. So we will turn on paid ads, but for now, yeah, really the only channel is outbound. So there's a lot of things that should be technically out of our control that I put my perfect outbound guys on, like referrals, for example. We have a channel that's like Cairo Queen's client wins. Whenever somebody has a win, that's immediately 5 referrals. So we go out and like, we say like poach their friends, and obviously not a malicious way, but like go and show results to friends and things like that, and pull on another ton of referrals. There's cold outbound, but yeah, it's really just outbound.
That's awesome. So like, the audience don't know like what exactly your agency do. So can you give us a 10,000 foot view of what you guys do and, like your backstory, how you got started with Cairo Queens?
Yep. To anybody outside of the agency space, we literally just do lead generation. So it's chiropractic solely. And we go ahead and do Facebook ads, Google AdWords, a little bit of TikTok ads and SEO and like website creation. So it's really just creating a digital presence for chiropractors. And to anybody in the agency space, yeah, it's just lead gen. It's Facebook ads, a good bit of it. So we're pulling in new patients for the doctors so that basically if they pay us like 2 or 3 thousand bucks a month, if we're able to make them more money than that, why wouldn't they pay us? So our retainers can stick around for a while. But that's the business model. I feel like anybody in our space would know that. But yeah, to anybody outside, it's really simple. If you can make somebody money, you can charge them a little bit less than what you make them, and that's really it.
Gotcha. Gotcha. So basically, you guys offer Facebook ads for chiropractors, right?
Yeah, that would be a good 80% of it. Yeah.
Right. So, like, what's your background? Like, how you got started? What made you start this marketing agency?
Dude, me, I was a personal trainer for a while. I was a personal
Okay.
trainer at Under Armour.
Didn't know that.
It was a cool job, but I got paid like trash. So to anybody on the outside, it looked really cool because I was training athletes and stuff. But inside, dude, I was hurting financially, mentally, and definitely emotionally. So I actually left the East Coast and went to the West Coast to help this marketing agency start up, and they were solely for gyms. And that is where it was really sink or swim. Like I was couch surfing for a while and just trying to afford enough money to freaking eat. So I got really tenacious. Uh, and that's when I first started doing outbound. And the amount of thick skin that you have to build when you go to the other side of the country, you don't know anybody, you don't have any money, and you have to produce, you
Yeah.
tend to get pretty good at it pretty quick. So
Yeah.
that's where and we can get into this later, but that's when you hit me up and you kind of practice what you preach, and you perfect outbounded me, and I was like, damn, that's really good. And I've been doing this for years, so that's why I hopped on with you and how we met, but we can get into that.
Awesome. I love that. So, like with outbound, there's this common myth or misconception that it is not scalable because it sounds like a lot of manual work, unlike paid ads. You can scale things fast, but that's not the case with outbound, right? So, like, what are your thoughts around that?
What I've found with outbound is, one, you need the enterprisal value. So if you don't have any sort of outbound and you're relying solely on paid ads, you tend to, let's say you want to sell your business, you're going to sell it for less because that's a constraint. Like what if Facebook was taken away one day and you can't run paid ads? That's a huge problem for any agency. So you need it. You absolutely need cold outbound. If you ever sell your business, it's worth way more money because it's something that you can literally just pick up a phone. Just having like a miserable time. But yeah, it was basically you pretty much have to learn the skill quick if you want to eat. But really there, I realized I was really good at setting appointments, taking appointments, closing, and they were really a trash agency at getting people results. So I was like, dude, I'm just gonna come home and do this with myself. I don't know why I'm forcing myself to suffer on the other side of the country. So I flew back, started up Chiro Queens, and it was really hard. I think it took me like maybe like 2 months to land a client, which doesn't sound like hell to people, but imagine like 14-hour days every single day, suffering trying to get a client. 2 months is a long time, but yeah, from there, just being tenacious and solely outbound, like nothing but outbound every single day. 1,000 screw yous in one maybe, and then you get on and try and close them. But that was really it. So yeah, started Chiro Queens 3 years back, and now it's I know maybe not everybody would agree, but I think it's number one in the Chiro agency, and it's definitely in the conversation of top 5.
That's awesome, man. So I think the audience would be interested to know like what your growth trajectory looked like, right? So, obviously you went from 0 to 1M, but I wonder like what that looks like, how long it took you, and then yeah, you can share however much you want on that part.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember when we hit 1 million. I don't know. I'll find the date on it later, but the first million was extremely difficult. The second was pretty easy, but like, oh my God. Yeah, I found many mentors personally that say your first million is always your hardest. And I would absolutely agree. They say like the first 100,000 is the hardest, but I think it's because there's a lot of refinement that needs to happen that just doesn't. And that's just how it is. Like when you're building something up, you can't really stop to perfect everything. But the first million was really tough because there's so many things that you need to set in motion. So yeah, I don't know if that answers the question, but the first million is definitely hard.
Maybe you can help us break it down, right? Like, for example, what I want to know is what got you from the first stage is usually the 0 to 10K per month.
Uh-huh.
All right. And then maybe the 10K to the, say, 30 to 50K. And
Yeah.
then that 50K to that 100K per month. What's that transition like, and what were required from you?
Yeah. I remember sitting in my friend's like grandma's basement, just trying to sell people. And that was like, I specifically remember because I have this picture saved, but it was just me imagining what life would be like at 10K months. This was like 3 years ago, and it was almost unfathomable to me because I had never in my entire life made $10,000 a month. So that journey was just straight up setting appointments. Like the very most important thing when you start an agency or you want to start your entrepreneurial journey is just generating revenue. So you need to be setting appointments all day, every day. Literally nothing else matters. And then just taking those appointments and then, yeah, you can pretty much guarantee you'll hit it, even if you're horrible at sales and marketing in general. I think scaling from there was when systems became a little bit more important. So 30, 50K months, that's when I hired my first outbound VA. And at that point, I had understood my niche enough and had enough reps to be able to go back to my outbound VA and give them scripts, messaging sequences, and just SOPs of like how to go out. What's the ideal client look like? What would they like if we message? So it's hard, I think, to just plug in a VA and be like, go generate me business. You have to have some understanding of your niche and how they're going to operate. So 30 to 50K, yeah, that was huge. The very first hire I had was actually an outbound VA, just so that he could continue setting me appointments and I could continue taking them. And then, yeah, 100K and so on. You know, there's a lot of systems that happen. There's a lot of other employees. There's managers and, you know, media buyers and things like that. So that one's a little bit, we can go deeper into that. But I think if people's goal is to just make a lot of money in the beginning, you need an outbound VA for sure.
Gotcha. And I think you mentioned an important point, which is you didn't hire a VA until you reached that 30 to 50K mark, right? So which means before that, you were doing all the prospecting yourself, correct? Mm-hmm. Gotcha. Yeah. And I think that's very important. The only time I think that is right to onboard a VA or appointment setter or outbound rep, whichever you call it, is you have to have a proven process yourself, and then you can onboard someone and have him or her take over, right? So that's very important. All right, cool. So I guess like the next thing we can cover is like you were already doing well yourself on the outbound side of things. I guess like what was it that made you join us, and what are the results you have gotten so far?
Yeah, so I'm very, very good. Like I know where I lack, but I'm very good at outbound closing and just setting and taking appointments. So anything revenue generating on the front end, that's where my strong suit is. Anything on the back end, I'm working on, I'm learning every day. But the reason I joined you guys was because I don't know if it was you, Clement, or if it was VA that you had yourself running your account. But dude, when you reached out,
that is one of our outbound reps who reached out to you.
Yeah. But dude, the messaging sequence, it was so good that I screenshotted it and sent my friend who was another agency owner. He sold his agency for a good bit. And that's what I'm trying to do. But I was like, dude, do you see this? Like, let's, I'm just being honest. I was like, let's copy this for Chiro Queen. So dude, even that has made me a lot of money. So thank you. But the reason that I joined was just straight up because your messaging sequence to poke my interest was so good that I hope other people get, hit up by you so they can check it out. But that's why I hopped on a call and I was like, yeah, I already have like my proven scripts, if you will, or sequences. So I just need a little bit of refinement and help. And I was so busy closing that I just needed a little bit of help on this. So that's why I joined. It was pretty much a no-brainer. And dude, results at this point, I have 2 perfect outbound reps. They set me about like, maybe like, I'll check the KPI right after this, but I can confidently say they both set at least 8 appointments a week. So it's like 16 appointments, and I'm extremely good at closing, which we can talk about another time. So I'm closing like at like almost at least 35%. That's very, very generous. or I guess conservative. So it's a good bit of clients per month from just perfect outbound.
That's awesome. Yeah, and definitely we can dive a little bit into more of your sales process later. I'm curious, like how much additional revenue have those two outbound reps add to your pipeline so far?
At least $250,000, like easy $250,000.
Awesome. That's
Mhm.
great to hear, man.
Mhm.
All right, so I think the next thing I want to ask you is like obviously running a six-figure agency versus a seven-figure agency, the operations is very different. So I want to understand like what it looks like because I think the audience will be interested to know as well. Like, can you tell me more about what your team looks like? What's your team structure and things like that?
Yeah, at a six-figure agency, it was really just me and then extensions of me. Um, so I was definitely in the cockpit, like I was in the driver's seat. Everybody else was just kind of helping me, and I was the business for six-figure run rates and whatever. So the biggest difference to jumping into a seven-figure agency is you have to hire people who are more talented than you at their space. So what my team looks like right now, I have one closer and me, so two closers in general, two perfect outbound reps, and that's literally it for the front end. On the back end, I have a chief marketing officer, a CMO, who is wildly more talented at marketing than me. So he's pretty much running the fulfillment side. We have like 4 tech VAs that help with our build outs. We have 2 client success managers. We have an integrator, a team ops person. And I think that's it. There's like 2 more VAs that help out with day-to-day things. But the biggest thing, if you want to scale to a 7-figure agency, is kind of releasing the reins and not, it's almost like you get comfortable when you have a 6-figure agency.
Yeah.
You get comfortable with like everything coming through you or you being the final decision maker on everything. At this point, dude, there's times where like I don't see my whole team for a day and they come back to me and they're like, sick, we made $20,000 today. And I'm like, cool. Yeah, awesome. Great day. And just kind of sign off. So they're very talented at what they do with client retention, build outs, getting results. I'm over here generating revenue. So I'll come back to them and be like, yeah, we closed 3 people today. They made $20,000. It's just like a tornado of success if you can hire talented people that are more talented than you in their space and just kind of let them do their thing.
Gotcha. So just want to make sure I got it right. Can you see my screen?
Yeah.
All right. So I'm gonna take some notes as we go along, so the audience can use this as reference. So you have 2 closes, one CMO, 4 tech VAs. I assume that's for the fulfillment side of things. One integrator, the ops person, and then 2 outbound reps.
Yep. And then 2 CSMs, 2 client success managers. So
2 client success manager. Okay.
Can you leave this screen up real quick? And I'll walk through so the audience understands. So 2 closers, obviously to be able to have 2 closers, you need a full calendar. So outbound is really, really important. Paid ads is really, really important. But you need a full calendar. The CMO is so that you can focus solely on one thing. I found that split bandwidth is horrible for growth, and we can get into that later, but you need to focus down on one thing. And a lot of times the owner of the business will focus on revenue generating activity, so going out and getting more clients. But the CMO is so that you can focus on sales. So they're just going to be doing the fulfillment end of things and running the tech VAs. The tech VAs will be doing the build out. Yep. So CMO takes care of fulfillment, tech VAs doing the build out, the pretty much work that's redundant. And yep. The integrator ops person kind of holds everything together. So this is probably the last hire that you'll make. So because the integrator ops person is the last hire, at that point, you can pretty much build a giant. You can build a 7-figure agency, kind of not unorganized, but unrefined. So this person will really refine your processes. For example, if it takes you like a week to get a client results, they'll refine it down to like 3 days. And they just take what you have and make it better. They're kind of like the steroid to the business. The outbound reps absolutely need it to even have closers. So Yep.
the integrator, correct me if I'm wrong, this person would be responsible in managing your SOPs and systems and, like putting everything together, correct?
Yeah, absolutely. Yep, that's perfect. And it will just save you so much time. I think one person needs to focus solely. It's kind of like a stool. This is one of my mentors that I consider is Alex Hormozy. And I think every business is a stool. So it really has three legs. You need one person that is solely focused on revenue, somebody that's solely focused on getting clients results, and then somebody who's solely focused on like how the business operates and runs and systems and things like that. So that's why that would be the last hire. But the two outbound reps you absolutely need for multiple different reasons. One is just so you can afford to have closers. No closer is going to want to be on your team if you don't have appointments for them to close. It's one of the biggest mistakes people make is trying to hire a closer right out the gate because they're not good at sales. But yeah, you absolutely need a couple outbound reps. I'm definitely going to get some more, but that's for appointment generation. And then I just wanted to bring up the two client success managers. And for example, if me and my CMO spent all day just listening to clients and how we can make things better, we would never generate more revenue ever. We would simply not have time. So the client success managers, the biggest thing they give you is just time. And when they first started, they weren't talented. They didn't understand our process. They weren't really refined. So they were literally just listening to clients for us and letting us know what was going on. So it is massively a time piece to give you back your time, just so you're not talking to clients all day long. But that's the 7-figure team.
All right. So I guess to sum it up, the two success managers would be responsible with like being in contact with your clients and like making sure they're set up for success. Are there any like accountability kind of stuff in there as well?
Are there any accountable stuff?
Like like with some agency or consulting programs, sometimes the CSM is responsible for holding the client accountable. I'm not sure if you have the same at ChiroQueens as well or not.
Yeah,
really.
absolutely. Yep. And just to give people another little hack, we actually hired one of our clients to be a client success manager. So who better than to tell people that it's possible and build belief than somebody who had success with this exact program. So we hired one of our clients, and yep, they hold people accountable. That's a huge piece to what you just said. It's easy to hold somebody accountable when you've done it yourself. So same thing back when I was a personal trainer and I was really fit and in shape, I was a walking testimony. So I was kind of my own client success manager as a personal trainer.
Awesome. All right. I love this. So, so we covered the 7-figure team. I think the next thing the audience will want to know is your full outbound sales process. All right. So I think we're going to cover, I actually took down some notes over here. So with the sales process, of course, there's the sales process, there's the lead generation piece, where you look, your process of looking for those leads, and then followed by your outreach and appointment setting, how you reach out to those leads plus how you set appointments. The third one is your actual sales process, like, one call close, 2 call close, follow-ups, what's your show up rates, things like that. And then, of course, the last piece is customer success, the fulfillment piece. Does that look about good for you, or is there anything else you need to add in?
No, that's fine. You can always like break it down, but 10,000 foot view, that's it. That's perfect.
All right, cool. So, we can bring this in any way you think you want. So, yep, go ahead.
Cool. So I'll jump into lead gen. This part through Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, all that great stuff. It's really important when you want to generate leads and generate appointments that you just elicit a response. That's the most important thing. So if you're sending people messages like, "Hi, my name is Hunter. I run ChiroQueens. We do Facebook ads," you'll just immediately get blocked. So you want to do something that's going to elicit a response. So no matter the media, if it's IG, Facebook, LinkedIn, TikTok, whatever. It could literally be anything, email. It's just number one is to elicit a response. So if you want to throw that baby up there, number one, elicit a response. So for example, in our script, we ask what the doctor's specialty is. So we're like, excuse me, we're like, hey, Dr. John, are you a corrective or wellness chiropractor? So we're asking them a genuine question that they're happy to answer because it's about them. It's not about us. So are you a, X or X? Yep. Yeah, really. It's as simple as that. Our open rate and our response rate is absurdly high. If people read it, it's probably like 90% of the time they're going to respond to it. There's no real selling going on yet, and it's solely about the doctor. So number one, yep, elicit a response. It's huge. If people are not opening your messages or responding, there's a massive problem. Number two is asking them a question that kind of shifts into the sale. It can also portray you as a potential client. And then we'll flip it at the end. So I'll explain that. It sounds unorganized right now, but number two is asking something like here's one that we're using right now. Do you have a website I can check out? So that's huge because again, we're asking them about themselves. They think we're a potential prospect, a potential patient. And they're like, yeah, absolutely. Let me send you my website. They go ahead and send it over. And I say, awesome, checking now. Then I'll come back to them 3 minutes later and be like, I noticed you're not ranking at all. There's about 10,000 searches for chiropractors in your area every single month. Do you want me to just go ahead and send 1 or 2% over your way, which is like 100 or 200 new clients?
Right.
Yep.
Gotcha. So, obviously your first message is, like, hey, something like, hey, doctor, are you X or X chiropractor? And then, the goal is to get a quick response. They're gonna, if they were to reply, they're gonna reply with something like, yes, what's up? Right.
Yep.
So how do you go from there to booking the appointment? Like, what's a flow like?
Mm-hmm. Yep. So flow, elicit a response. Number two, asking them for something that, that potentially gets them things. So you could ask them for their day one price. I'm sorry, I'm getting too specific. So this is a great one, like pretty much asking for their website.
Yeah,
Simple
I think
question.
I can help you. Yeah, sorry to cut you off. Like, I think I can help you with that, right? So I think the second question after the initial response is really to ask another simple question that is easy to respond as well, that is relevant to what they do, correct?
Yes, exactly.
And you're almost kind of like back and forth conversation. And then once
you're almost asking them a question about their sales process. Excuse me, but the way that you ask it makes you sound like a potential client. But they come back to it and they're like, oh no, he was being genuine. He was just asking about our sales process. So what's your website? Do you have a website you can send over? They send over the website literally 100% of the time because they think we're going to sign up and become a patient or a client. And then afterwards, we come back 3 minutes later, and that's where we do the pitch, the value proposition.
All right. So I think for the message number two, you highlighted a very important part, which is that question has to make it seem like you are a potential client in the eyes of the person you're reaching out to, right? Which gets them curious to continue the conversation, correct?
Yep.
Right. So I'm going to write this down. That makes you seem like a potential client. Okay.
Yeah, and just to touch on that, you have to be skilled when doing number two, because if you're just straight up like, hey, do you have a website? I want to become a client. And then you come back to them and be like, psych, I just wanted to sell you this. You will get a lot of like, oh, fuck you, dude. That was a bait and switch. So that's not what we want to do, but we want to be careful and kind of, dance on the line that once we hit them with a value proposition, they're like, oh, okay, he was being genuine. So this is a great way.
Sure.
Yeah. Cool. So number three would be the value proposition. And in this case, it would be, Awesome. Love the site. I saw you weren't ranking too well. And there's about 10,000 searches for a chiropractor in your area every month. And then send another message. Do you want me to just go ahead and send 1 to 2% of those over to you every month, which is like 100 or 200 new clients?
Something along that lines, right? So
Yeah,
your
yeah.
website isn't ranking well. Would you want us to send over more clients?
Mhm.
Okay.
Yep. There's still no sell. Then at that point you get a lot of what's in it for you. Okay, are you charging me money? What's it cost? What's the catch? Stuff like that. And you just be like, yeah, you want to hop on a call real quick and just kind of go over it? And there's a ton of appointments right there.
Right. So the last piece is, the value proposition. I mean, after the value proposition, do you want us to send over more clients? And they say yes, that's when you go in for the call booking, correct? That's when you send in, perfect, let's get on the call. Would you prefer to do this time or something like that, right?
Yeah. Mhm.
Okay. Ask. All right. Cool. Anything else you want to add? I like this so far.
This 10,000 foot view, this is pretty much it. You can change it up however you want, but this is just a great example of asking them about themselves, asking them how they represent themselves. So you're sounding like a client. Then you hit them with a value proposition. And at that point, it's just overcoming objections. So it's like I said, you might get how much, what's in it for you, stuff like that. And it's like, yeah, let's go over that real quick. You're kind of agreeing with them. Yeah, okay. I understand the question. Let's talk about it. Hop on a call real quick. And
Yeah.
that's pretty much the process. Yeah, that is, the words in here don't matter as much as the structure. Like we said, ask them about themselves, ask them about what they have, their site or whatever, hit them with a value proposition. We've used this to scale to 200K months.
Awesome. All right, cool. Love it. So to summarize one more time,
Mhm.
the messaging sequence would usually look like that, right? First, quick, a simple question to elicit a quick response.
Mhm.
Once that happens, you go in, you ask a question that makes you seem like you are a potential client, but
Mhm.
at the same time, be cautious when you're using this strategy because you don't want to overdo that. Because that might throw off the client when he realizes that you are trying to sell him something, right? So try to come from a place of wanting to provide value
Yeah.
while being on some level like vague, right? Like
Yeah.
not, you
Yes.
don't give everything out, right? And then third is, okay, so this is your situation right now. Like, would you want more clients, right? I
Mhm.
think the key point over here is to also ask another simple question that would usually link to an obvious answer, which is like, who doesn't want more clients? Obviously, they want more clients,
Mhm.
right? So after that, they're going to reply, yes, sure, we definitely can take on more clients. Then that's when that is the right time to go in for message number 4, which is you can ask for the call, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Cool. So anything else you want to add to the lead generation piece? Just to confirm, like the 2 channels you're on are Instagram and Facebook, right?
Yeah. Personally, for other niches and other verticals like LinkedIn and email are great. They just aren't for me. And maybe that's a limiting belief on my half, but I've never successfully used them. So I just don't.
All right, cool. So I think another thing the audience would might be interested in would also be, like how are you looking for those leads on Instagram and Facebook? You can share however much you want.
Yeah, the largest piece is going to be groups, Facebook
Okay.
groups, Instagram groups, uh, whales, we call them whale clients because they're massive and a lot of people follow them. So in our niche, there's a couple doctors that like have 10,000 followers that are also other doctors. So you just need to find what they like or where they hang out. For
Okay.
example, doctors are very holistic. So they hate the government right now in vaccines. So if I can go find like anti-government pages, I'm not even getting political with this, but like in the States, that's just how it is. And that's how my niche is. So I go and find them there. Yeah, you just have to find where they hang out, who they like, and you can go poach all their followers and get them to come in and join.
Right. And you mentioned Instagram groups. Like I didn't know there's such a thing as Instagram groups. Where do you find those?
Not literally like Facebook. So Facebook has groups on Instagram. Those same groups have accounts.
Ah,
So
okay. So you mean like influencers of the industry, like
yeah,
chiropractor influencers?
yeah.
Okay, cool. Industry. I'm gonna just put down industry influencers. All right, gotcha. And is there a selection criteria as to how do you know if this is a good group? How do you know
Yeah.
this is a good influencer?
Yeah. Okay. So to, I guess to simply put this, I actually have an SOP that is if people are under a year being in business, we tend not to look or seek them out. If they're over a year in business, we go hard and we try and get them on. If they're under a year, they don't even understand that they have a problem. They're broke and normally can't afford anything, and their systems are really bad and they're unrefined. If they're over a year, they have money, they normally have systems and processes. That first year is tough. So to get through it, you have to come out, at least okay. So yeah, those would be typically the people that we look for. And it's literally that simple. You can just kind of break it down. Are they over or under a year in business?
Okay.
So to kind of go deeper on your question, like, do we look for Facebook groups of chiropractic students that are still in school? No, absolutely not. They don't have money. They're not ready to buy. So your buyers have to be ready. And there's some criteria that can be met in every single niche to kind of easily show that.
All right, cool. And just to make sure the audience understand, how you are reaching out to those leads for industry influencers, I'm assuming you are going to their followers and then you're DMing their followers, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And for Facebook groups, it will be the same. You just DM the members in the group, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Do you
And
have a selection criteria as to which members within a group you should DM or you should not DM? I think
yeah,
this is
don't DM the admins of the group. They're gonna kick you out.
yeah.
Yeah. Not really. I go through them all, hundreds.
All right.
Yeah, don't get kicked out. Don't go to the owner of the group and be like,
Yeah.
hey, do you want more
This
clients?
has happened to us multiple times, like when we onboard new outbound reps and
Yeah.
they just DM everyone, including
Yeah.
the admins. So yeah, be careful with this.
Right.
All right, cool. I like this so far. So we covered lead generation. Is there anything else you want to add to lead generation before we move to the next piece?
There isn't. Just for the people watching this though, we can spend another 3 hours on that one piece. So there's levels to this, but for now, that is more than sufficient.
All right, awesome. So let's go to the next piece, which is now you got the leads. You know who to reach out to. You have this messaging sequence. Now, how are you going to reach out to them? Plus, what's your hook to get them on a call? I think we perhaps might cover some of this, but it's okay. We can see what else we can add on here.
The hook is going to be the offer. So if you want to, if nobody's read the book, do I have it in here? Alex Hormozi, $100 million offer.
Great book.
Yeah, did you read it?
Yep.
I'm looking around. It's somewhere in my dirty office, but yeah. So offers are going to have to be great. They're going to have to make sense. It's really hard to get somebody to hop on the phone with you if you're telling them, like, let's just say you go through that whole messaging sequence. You're like, hey, could I send you more clients? They're like, how much? And you're like, it's going to be $5,000. Do you really think they're going to get on a call with you? No. So oftentimes we have an offer like, they're like, what's in it for you? And I'm like, well, we're running a special offer right now. Like, I guarantee that we're going to get you 20 clients, something like that. I guarantee we're going to get you 10 clients. I guarantee we're going to get people on your schedule, something like that, just so they hop on the phone.
So just to be clear, do you say that on the call or within the inbox?
Normally in the inbox. I'll make it a no-brainer to hop on the call because there is an awkward transition of, do you just want me to send you more clients? Then, okay, let's hop on a call and I'll sell you. So there needs to kind of be this expert transition going on there. So when we're asking for the call, like if we go to best practices, value proposition, your website isn't ranking well, would you want me to send over more clients? They're like, yes, what's in it for you? And I'm like, or like, yes, how much does it cost? And I'll be like, oh yeah, I'd be happy to go over that. But just so you know, it's I literally guarantee 10 clients or something like that. So it's a no-brainer to hop on the call and we go ahead and do that in the DMs.
All right. So like a no-brainer guarantee.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
The call.
And just so people know, and again, like we could spend hours and hours on the psychology behind this, but you have to answer people's question, even if you don't answer it binary. So like if somebody's like, how much money does it cost? You'd be like, oh, it depends. But I do guarantee at least 10 clients. Let's hop on a call real quick. So I kind of answered their question, but I also didn't. So that's the acknowledgement and redirection type strategy for sales. And that's been going on as old as time.
Yeah, that's very important. So this is something that we cover within the Perfect Outbound program as well. Like with our kind of like appointment setting sequence, which is before you send so all this over here, the 4 messages that you see over here, right? Like we call them bridging messages. They are bridging messages because each of them, depending on the response of the prospect, will lead to the next bridging message, right? And you cannot send bridging 3 without first going through bridging 2. You have to follow bridging 1, 2, 3, and then 4, which is asking for the call. For us, we have more than 4 bridging messages. It depends on whichever which industry the client is from. But for your case, it sounds like this is just an example, right? This is the flow. So before you send the next bridging message, I think you hit the nail on the head, which is it's very important you first acknowledge whichever question or objection the prospect throws at you, right? So on sales calls, there are sales calls based objections. In the inbox, there are inbox based objections. So it's important you acknowledge the objections first, and then you move on to whichever bridging message you should send.
Yeah, if somebody says, I hate you and I think you suck in the DMs, you're like, oh, I totally understand why you'd say that, but we do guarantee 10 clients. So you're always acknowledging the last thing of what they said and then going on to what you have.
100%. All right, cool. So is there anything else over here that you want to add on?
I think for sake of ease, for people getting started or people that want to focus on outbound, again, it's going to be really hard to get on the phone with somebody. So I think level 1, just get them on the call, which is a big piece is going to be the offer that you provide. So go read that book, go watch the YouTube videos, and just make a no-brainer offer so people get on the phone.
Yeah, gotcha. All right. I think the audience would be, I just had an idea. I think the audience would be very interested in like what an actual conversation would look like in the DMs. Shall we do a quick role play? Let's say I pretend I'm a chiropractor, you reach out to me, and then let's do a role play to booking a call.
Absolutely.
How does that sound?
Yeah.
All right, cool. So let's say you reach out to me, I'm a chiro. How would you start the conversation?
So I'd be like, hey, Dr. Tom, are you an upper cervical doctor or are you full spine?
Full spine.
I'm trying to remember the messaging sequence, and I actually have some screenshots here. So afterwards I'd be like, great, awesome. Do you have a website I can check out?
Yes, for sure. And then I'm going to send you the website.
Cool. And then I'm going to wait a couple minutes. I'll come back to you and I'll be like, love the site. Can I just say there's 10,000 searches for a chiropractor every single month? And I noticed you're not ranking. Would you mind if I just sent you 1 to 2% of those 10,000 searches every single month?
So usually they might just say like, yes, sure, and then you go in for the call, right? But I want to make this seem more realistic. Let's say I
Yeah.
throw you an objection. Let's say I'm gonna say, um, for sure I'm interested, but if you're trying to sell me something, then I'm not. How would you handle that?
Yeah, I totally understand. I hate when salespeople get in my inboxes as well, but we're guaranteeing 10 booked appointments, 10 clients. So just wanted to reach out. If you're open to it and me sending you some more people, then I'd love to hop on a quick call. So
All right, sure. Let's check this out.
cool, something like that. And then if you want me to share my screen, I literally have an example right here.
Okay, sure. So let me allow you to share the screen.
Uh-huh.
All right,
All right.
cool.
So, dude, for people watching this, I'm about to go in my DMs and share you guys how Kyra Queens makes $200,000 a month. So let's walk through, baby. So here's an example. Go out and have fun. Hey, Dr. Leonard, are you full spine or upper cervical? Technically both, but most full spine. Okay, do you have a site that I can check out? Bam, there's the site. Okay, so I'm seeing you guys aren't ranking too high, but there are 10,000 Kyra searches in Google. Would you be open to me sending 1 or 2% to your site? I'd be interested. I accepted your Facebook friend request because you're linked to many people I know and respect. So let's stop right there real quick. You want to be adding a lot of friends in your niche so that people like this see that and they like that. That's awesome, man. I actually work with a ton of mutuals that I'm seeing. I'd love to share what they're getting with us. What's a good way for us to discuss what you do? Would you be available sometime Monday or Wednesday? Tuesday, send them the link, get on the call, bam. So that was
Cool.
PJ from Perfect Outbound, and I'm going to go close that guy and make $20,000. So it's really that easy.
That's awesome. Cool. I love that. So let's I'm gonna share my screen again.
Mhm.
Cool. So guys, feel free to screenshot that while you're watching this if required. That's a good one. So Hunter, like so far so good. Is there anything else you want to add to this piece? Like what are the
I think that's great. Yeah, so far we can jump in to the rest.
All right, cool. So next up would be your sales process.
Yeah. Okay. So I'm going to be honest with the audience that, excuse me, at this point, Cairo Queens is so well known in the space that I can one call close, but I wouldn't recommend it. So I would recommend if you're coming up, you're, building your presence in your niche, just do a 2-call close. So sales process, 2-call close, first call, intro, let them know no credit cards today, set the agenda. It's just a lax call. You immediately put down their walls and you just talk about their issues, their problems, what they're going through. And the very important thing is that nobody wants to be rescued or helped. Nobody thinks they need it. So you're not asking them, well, where are you suffering? Where do you need help? Nobody wants help. So you're just asking where the gaps are from them hitting their goals. So all you do during this intro is find out where they are, where they want to be, and then just ask them about the gaps. Again, because nobody wants to be rescued. So
Right.
you need to be able to identify the gaps. And then after that, you're like, cool, well, I'd love to show you behind an actual computer what we do. So you set up a Zoom time, get on the second call, and now you have all this ammo to go ahead and close them.
Gotcha. So just to make sure I get you right, when you say, like nobody likes to be rescued, basically you're saying it's important you frame your questions in the right way.
Mm-hmm.
So in a way, like you still can get the prospect to tell you like what's lacking, but while doing that, like you're also protecting their ego, right? Like you don't want them to sound like as if they need help, right?
Yeah.
Gotcha. Can you give an example of that? Like how would you start an intro call and how would you like frame it?
Yeah, that's great. And dude, you're spitting back what I'm saying way more elegant than I am. So your understanding of what I'm saying is next level. So yeah, I would hop on an intro call, and it's very important immediately set the agenda. So anybody listening to this, write this down. You can be like, shoot the shit for literally 20 seconds. Say, I saw you're in California. How is it over there? Those crazy governors and everything. Cool. Okay. Well, yeah. I'll be honest, Dr. Tim, normally these calls are pretty short and sweet. This would just be to make sure if I can even help you so you don't waste your time, or if I can even do anything for you. So you can ask me as many questions as you want, and we'll go over Chiro Queens and what we do. But would you mind if I just ask you a couple questions first? So boom, you got control over the conversation. That's very important. And then you just go through and find the gaps. So this is going to be different for every single niche, but you're going to be asking things like, where are you currently at? And you have to, do that per your niche. So if it's chiropractors, it's like, how many patients are you seeing? If it's realtors, how many houses are you selling? If it's dentists, yeah, how many patients? Whatever it is. Where are you currently at? And then where would you like to be? Okay. So you can kind of reverse process and see what needs to be happening, make them realize that they can't do it themselves, at which point you're the solution. So this is just classic gap selling. And again, we could spend another hour or two on this alone.
Yeah. Gotcha. Yeah. So it seems like it's the usual permission-based selling, right?
Yeah.
Where, like you start with a small talk and then you set the frame. So this call is really just for us to gauge if there's a fit or not. If there's a fit, great, we can go ahead to book a second call to dive deeper. If there's not a fit, no harm, no foul. We just point you towards someone who might be the best to help you. Does that sound cool? Right? You always want to end that with a question. And then in a way, you give them that power of choice.
Yeah.
Right. So they feel safe, right? And they say, sure, why not? And that's when you go in and you ask those questions. Does that sound about right?
Yeah. The illusion of choice. Yeah. So you're hitting the nail on the head right there.
All right, cool. And then next would be the typical, you will find out where they are, where they want to get to.
Yeah.
Like what have you tried so far? If how long have you been trying this? If you continue doing whatever that you're doing right now, realistically speaking, do you think you can hit your goal? Right. And then they'll tell you yes or no. If no, all right, cool. So what do you feel you exactly need in order to get there?
Yeah.
And then they will tell you like what they need.
Yep.
Use that to perhaps, like, if it makes sense, you can use that to book the second call. So that's how we conduct our intro calls. Like, does that seem about similar to what you guys do as well?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. If anybody's watching this and they want another video on this, I can break it down. But again, like, this is going to take another hour or two. So this is the main points of what you need are right here.
Awesome. All right, cool. So that's the intro. Let's say there's a fit and they agree to hop on a actual demo call.
Mm-hmm.
What would that look like? Like, I think we want to cover the details. I think the audience will be interested in that. Like, in between the intro to the demo call, like, is there any like content nurturing sequence? You send in testimonials and things like that. You can share more about it.
So for people that are a little bit more established and like we send them over testimonials. I send them over at this point a VSL, a video sales letter. So I'm literally doing a video sales letter to me. I'm basically giving them the demo before they hop on the call. So now, dude, if I have another closer, like I said, so I have, PJ and Chris, my perfect outbound guys, they're going in and setting appointments. Somebody takes the intro call for me, and then my video sales letter comes out. And at this point, bro, I'm taking like 8 appointments a day. Each of them are like 10, 15 minutes. And I'm collecting thousands of dollars just because the edification that they built through the process of like PJ hitting them up. Then they hop on with Tyler, my other closer. Then they hop on with me. They're like, oh my goodness, I'm on with the owner of the company. So it takes me like 10 or 15 minutes to collect thousands of dollars.
Awesome. So you're saying your sales calls are only 10 to 15 minutes?
Yeah.
Wow, that's awesome.
At this point, but other people doing it, they're probably, half hour to 45 minutes.
Sure. So before the demo call, you send them the VSL. Like, is that like you send them manually, or do you have like a automated like active campaign sequence that goes out? Like, how does that look like?
Yeah, you can we're going to refine it. So again, this is why I needed that integrator ops person. Right now it's just manual, so it really doesn't matter. I just drop in the DM. Great chatting with you. You get your email, you set up the demo call for next Wednesday. They start getting appointment reminders. Great speaking with you, Dr. Tim. In the meantime, can you go ahead and check out this video? We'll see you Tuesday. And then it's me walking them through our system so that I don't have to do it again on our demo.
As simple as it gets, right?
Mhm.
Like this goes to show that, you don't need like complex automations and things like that to be running a 7-figure agency.
Absolutely.
All right, cool. So this is done manually. It's really up to you, but I'm just writing down like what Hunter is doing.
Mhm.
Okay, cool. Anything else you want to add on the demo side of things?
Yeah, this is very important. This is what I found. If you are outbound cold prospects on a demo, if you, and I will say this like 500,000 times, I'll scream it from the rooftops. If you do not close them on the call, they will never come back. It's just what I found. These people have no reason to, for the most part, they're cold prospects. They don't know anybody you work with. They don't know your processes. They're just getting on here cold. So if you do not close them on this demo, there is a 99.99% likelihood that they never come back. And then you're going to waste hours because you're going to, if you start not closing these people on the call, now you have 50 people you need to follow up with. So I actually just got to the point, I used to do follow-ups and things like that. I just said, screw it. I am burning the ships, behind me. I have no safety net. If I don't close them on the call, I'm never contacting them again because I know they'll never answer me again. So for anybody watching this cold outbound, it's very important. If they get to a demo and you don't close them on it, you've royally fucked up and you need to change your sales process. I think it's the mental process that I'm with this company. I don't really know. They didn't matter to me before they reached out. They're not going to matter after. So you need to be locked in and close on that demo.
Right. So, like I'm sure the audience want to know like what they need to do to minimize that from happening. Like
Yep.
what would you do, before the demo, aside from, if there's anything to add, like aside from sending the VSL
Yeah.
to prevent that from happening?
So this is, I know I've said this multiple times during this video, but I could spend 3 hours on this and I'll probably end up like making a video training or I can hop back on with you. But here's what I do. And it has been night and day. This has made me at this point millions of dollars. This simple paragraph. So people are watching this, write this down and it will make you, I'm not joking, millions of dollars. You just say, hey, Dr. Tim, at this point, after shooting the crap and everything, hey, Dr. Tim, there's really like 3 things we could say at the end of this call, man. You could say, hell yeah, Hunter, let's do it. And that's great. Like, let's jump on, let's do business. You could say, no, and this isn't for me. I hate you, Hunter. Everybody laughs at that. And that's totally fine, man. I just think if we say, maybe I'll think about it or I'll get back to you. I think that's just a polite way of saying no. So would you mind, in the interest of both our time, Dr. Tim, could we just do a simple agreement today, man? Could we just do a hell yeah or a no, but no maybes or I'll think about it? Dude, that simple paragraph has made me millions of dollars. So
What's
all
the
we're
second?
asking them is that at the end of this call, there's a decision being made.
Okay.
If they say no up front, well, there's an objection to tackle right there. So again, we could spend hours on this, but if you're asking them up front at the intro of the call, could we make a decision at the end of this call? They might say, no, I have to talk to my wife. Tackle the objection there, then go on and close them. If they say, no, I need to talk to my business partner, it's the same thing. If they're like, no, because I'm not ready for the product, then they shouldn't have got this far in the sales process, but you could still tackle that objection up front. There's many other objections you tackle up front because the greatest closers, I personally think, don't actually overcome objections. They prevent them from ever happening. So you get that done in the beginning of the call. And at the end, if you have to overcome any, just do it. But what I've laid out is a simple agreement that at the end of this call, we're going to say yes or no. And I do it in a very polite way. That's,
Right.
we could say yes, we could say no. I just think if we say maybe or I'll think about it, I think that's just a polite way of saying no in the first place. So in the interest of that, could we just do a yes or a no? And 90% of the time people are like, yeah, that's cool. Then I close them. The 10% of the time, if they're like, no, they'll actually give me their objection up front and I can prevent it from happening at the end of the call.
Gotcha. Right. So basically it is to set the frame and letting them know that, like we don't want to end up with a maybe decision. We want either a clear yes or no, right? If yes, great, let's work together. If no, chances are they're going to throw more objections at you and then you're going to handle those objections out front.
Exactly.
Does that sound about right?
Yeah.
All right. Love it. So cool. Anything else you want to add?
No, that's the main one. Let's do another call. We'll break it down even further. But for
We can do that.
the purposes of
Yeah,
this, like this is all great. This is perfect.
Awesome. All right. So I think we covered the sales process. Just to confirm, like, do you have, let's say a prospect don't show up for your call, do you have like a no-show sequence or something like that?
Yeah, honestly, our no shows are like non-existent when we do cold outbound, intro call, video sales letter. Dude, I don't remember the last no show I've had. I don't even think it months ago. I don't remember. It's so low that I actually I should, as a business owner, I need to track these numbers, but I just don't. It's so unbelievably low if you do this process.
Right. Awesome. Are there any ways you can recommend the audience to do to minimize no-shows?
Yeah, just simple follow-ups. I'm sorry, simple appointment reminders. So whatever you use, Calendly, whatever. I know you had a texting sequence that went out that was just like, yeah, just gentle reminder, 15 minutes, hour out, day before. Really just that. And then the fact that you can send them digestible content before they hop on the call, that's huge. So video sales letter, testimonials, reviews, whatever. It all does wonders to the show rate.
So content. Cool. All right, let's see what else we haven't covered. I think we pretty much covered everything over here, right? All right, cool. Shall we go to the next piece, which is customer success? What would you add here?
What would I add here? First, just like actually genuinely give a shit. And I know this sounds like it doesn't need to be said, but it does. There's so many agencies in my space that people just genuinely don't give a crap. And they don't give a crap about their churn rate, about the client's success or their experience. So perception is reality. That's a statement that like everybody should know. Whatever somebody's perception is their reality. So you might have this horribly unorganized piece of shit business, but if you can just give them a perception that the ship is not rocky, it's just smooth sailing, they're going to feel that. They're going to have a great experience. So client success, customer success, it's very important that their perception of your company is well put together. You've done this before, and that there's basically just safe. Other than that, yeah, you need to, again, we could go into this for hours, but you need to have not whatever you're selling. If it's marketing, you're basically just selling them opportunity. So you need to not only sell them opportunity, but the latter half. So it's a massive opportunity. If you're just out there selling people leads at the end of the day, cool, anybody can do that. If you're selling them the entire process, that you can get them leads, then help them close those leads, then help them retain those leads, which is what we do at this point. It's irreplaceable, and like the value on it is unmatched.
100%. I have some questions regarding, like, how are you onboarding your clients and things like that. So, but before that, now I want to discuss like why this is important, right? Like this is an outbound sales training masterclass. Why are we even talking about customer success? So let me explain why we decided to include this here. This is because the success of your customers will determine the churn rate of your company. The lower your churn is, the more revenue your company is going to retain. And most people do not pay attention to this part of their business. They are always, focused on generating new appointments, new opportunities, but they forgot about the retention piece, right? You spend so much effort and time prospecting and setting these appointments plus closing them, but you end up losing them within, I don't know, one month, 2 months, right? So this is why we are even discussing this in the first place. All right. So Hunter, can you share with us, like how do you give a shit?
Yeah. And then to your one question, like how we onboard, Everything after the sales call. So let's just client success, I'll break it down, is basically everything that happens after they give you a credit card and you swipe it. So here's what needs to happen. Immediately, no matter who they are, they're probably going to experience buyer's remorse or just uncertainty. And you need to immediately squash that. If your onboarding call is more than 48 hours after you swipe a card, you're not giving a shit about them. They need immediate reassurance. They need to immediately be plugged into your process. They need to immediately get welcome emails. They need to immediately like get training courses. They need to have immediate access to something. And that onboarding call of the next touch point with your client has to be within 48 hours. It's very important. There's a study, I'll find where it was, but it was some, when a company did it within 48 hours versus after, the churn rate was unbelievably lower if you just did that onboarding call in the first 48 hours. It might be Layla Hermosi. I don't know. I'll check it out.
Yeah, I think I saw that training as well. Like,
okay,
yeah,
cool.
by Alex, right? I think he mentioned like what he do whenever someone onboards to Gym Launch is he'll record like a video testimony, a video of himself, like welcoming the customer and then sending it to the customer, like within less than 48 hours of them buying the product, right?
Yeah. Yep, absolutely. So it's very important that we immediately squash any buyer's remorse or buyer's regret. Then after that, it's just setting expectations. Expectations is the most important part about client success after the onboarding. Easily the most important. If you set expectations that you're going to make them $1 million in a month and you only make them 500,000, which is absurd and amazing, they'll still be like, hey, you told me $1 million, that's only half. So I've had examples of like, dude, I have literally started marketing for people and in the first week, I've made them $10,000. But one of my employees gave them the expectation they were going to make more than that within the entire month. So I'm sorry, their expectation was that, they're going to make like close to like $50,000 in the first month. And we literally did that. Like in the first week it was like 15,000. I can't remember. It was absurd. It was amazing.
Yeah.
Their perception, they didn't care because the expectation wasn't set. So you need to set a proper expectation. You need to under promise and over deliver at every point. And that under promise still needs to meet their needs. So if I'm under promising like, yeah, I might get you a client or not, that's not a good under promise. It needs to be pretty refined. You need to be like, yeah, well, this is mostly what we see. And, it might take us a couple of weeks. It's marketing in general. So, we can't really guarantee results, but our offer is. So I'm just under promising right now that if we're not able to perform, you're going to get your money back or we'll work for free until we do. But mostly in the first month, it's really common for us to get you 5 people on the books. And if your numbers tell you that you get, 10, great. Then you're under promising and over delivering.
Awesome. Right. Love this. Anything else you want to add to onboarding and making sure your customer succeeds? What about after onboarding?
Yeah, at that point, for us personally, we set weekly check-ins. And that could be anything. It could be a phone call, it could be a Zoom call, it could be an email, it could be a text. Weekly though, you need a touch point on all your clients, even if it's a monthly service. And that is where hiring client success managers is huge. Because imagine checking in at this point, we have, 120 clients or something like that. Imagine me checking in with them every single week. That's more than a full-time job. That's like a 60-hour work week. So you need employees to help you out.
All right. Anything else you want to add on?
Yeah, I'll just give the people, like, we use Telegram. It's a free app to check in. So I don't want people blowing up my cell phone. I don't want them blowing up my employees. So we use Telegram. We immediately make a group chat. We pull them, my client success managers, me, my CMO, everybody, to give it like a good size company feel, but they only talk to that one person. So they get the feel that it's a put together successful company, but their one point of contact is one, a CSM. So yeah.
Gotcha. So is that like a group chat or is it just group chat with all the other chiropractors as well?
No, just them. So
Okay, gotcha.
the reason we do this is your communication stream, if it's just texting and calling, regular texting and calling, you're going to get texted and called all day, every day, because it's so easy for me to pick up a phone. But if you just mentally break texting and calling from another platform, so example, like we use Telegram, there's this like mental piece that I think people kind of separate personal and work life. So like their questions are more refined. They're not just blowing us up all day, every day. They sign into this app and they message us questions when they have them. It's way too easy to just text or call somebody. So you want to put a slight barrier up. Otherwise, it's not going to be fun. You're going to get 10 to 15 texts or calls a day from one client. Then you multiply that by 1,000 and it's not going to be fun. Yeah. But that's pretty much it for customer success.
All right, cool. I think we pretty much covered what we need to cover, Hunter. So far everything looks good. Is there anything else that you want to add on before we kind of like wrap this up?
Yeah, if I know I've been quoting Hormozi a lot, but like if in customer success, if there's an opportunity for you to retain a client, but it's going to require you to lose money, just fucking do it. Like if you made a promise and you didn't meet it, but you kind of technically did, so you want to keep their money, just fucking refund them or work for free until you do. It's literally that simple. You're going to not only retain them, you're probably going to pull in some referrals. If you just zoom out and you've done right by people, you'll always go further than people who haven't. So customer success, yeah. If it requires, yeah, reputation over revenue.
Yeah, love it. All right, great points.
Mhm.
Okay, so I guess like what's next for Chiro Queens?
Dude, most often when people get to my point, they just kind of mentally check out. They'll start to create like a course or something. I'm not even close to where I want to be. I'm gonna like destroy 200K months in 2023. So I want to take Chiro Queens to $1 million months. At that point, I'll consider selling it. Yeah, I'm not even close to where I want to be. So what's next for Chiro Queens? We're going to finally turn on paid ads because we've scaled to this point without them, which is pretty absurd when I think about it. But yeah, dude, 2022, absolutely, we're going to hit 400K months. Super psyched. Going to need a lot more hands-on and employees, but I'm going to scale Chiro Queens to #1 in the Chiro agency. And yeah.
You're crushing it, dude. Love it. Yeah, I think you definitely will get there in no time. Is there anything else you want to add on before we kind of like conclude our call?
Yes. Just to kind of bring it home with Perfect Outbound. One, work with Clement. Like obviously it's a great investment, but like even if they didn't work with you, they should do this, which is a tactic that I use on a sales call. Even if you don't work with me, you should do this. You need to have outbound because enterprisal value is a very real thing. And everybody has this picture, like they want to grow and sell a business. It like sounds so cool. It's, it sounds sexy and everything, but you truly can't sell a business if your one streamline is paid advertisements. And I've seen rise and fall of agencies because maybe their Facebook account gets blocked 1 month and they normally spend 50 grand on paid ads a month and it pulls them in $250,000. Well, if you can't do that for 1 month, you're screwed. So enterprisal value, meaning if you get a valuation on your company, it's going to go way up if you can master outbound. And that is a massive revenue creator or generator for your business. It is worth so much more money than an agency that just uses paid ads. So everybody should be doing this. Absolutely.
Yeah. And to bring that point home, actually, I'm not sure if you saw that video by Alex yet. I know we are quoting him a lot on this video. It's because like his content is just so good. So recently I watched one of his videos on YouTube. It was one of a like training with a mastermind in a mastermind, and he was talking about his outbound process, right? So his outbound process is slightly different. They do cold calling, but it's still very similar principles. Basically, like Gym Launch recently, they sold Gym Launch, right? And they have been actually thinking about selling, Alex and Layla, of selling Gym Launch for quite a while already. And back then they were 100% on paid ads, right? And guess what that number was? What that um, traffic distribution was when they sold Gym Launch? It was, if I'm not wrong, he said on the video, 40% of their revenue are from paid ads, 60% are from outbound.
Wow.
So you can do your math over there. It's a lot of money. So
And they
outbound is
sold like
definitely
half the
scalable.
business for like $50 million or whatever it was, 40 something million.
Yeah,
So
40 plus million.
yeah, so to everybody listening, like uh at least in my world, all I've seen is like paid ads, paid ad, paid ads. And it is kind of like the steroid to your business, but the rock and foundation needs to be that if I just pick up a phone, I can start generating revenue. And that to somebody that's going to buy or sell a business, you can't beat it.
100%. My man, great connecting with you. Appreciate you doing this call with us today. Yeah, I think we can conclude the call. If there's is there anything else you want to add?
No, dude. Fantastic. Thank you for having me, dude.
Same here. Have a good one.
You too, bro.